All right, we have a special one on our hands here. Hall of Famer, not just Cy Young Award winner, not just former Yankee, not just World Series champion. Hall of Famer CC Sabathia is with us here. CC, welcome. Erich Richter, New York Post. How are you?
Good. How you doing, bro? Appreciate it.
I'm doing well. CC, obviously you had your Hall of Fame speech and you had a really, really great baseball career. Outside of off the field though, you've been doing a lot of charitable work. So I wanted to run through that. Tell me about your charity work and golf and all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, we started a foundation, pitch in dot, pitch in dot. I was about to give you the website. Pitch in 2008. Me and my wife and my mom really at the beginning, just to help kids in the inner city. Through sports and education. Both me and my wife grew up in kind of the same situation, and want to help kids and be a vehicle, and having a chance to make a difference. We started in Cleveland. We do camps in California, and then now here in the Bronx. Just have a chance to see our organization grow over the last 20 years, keep thriving in retirement, and just help so many people in different families in different areas. It's been great. And, I feel like, without organizations like this, I wouldn't be sitting here. So I feel obligated to be doing this type of work. And, me and my wife call it our fifth child. So it's definitely, a part of our family, a labor of love. And we have a lot of fun putting on events and we have a big gala coming up on September 8th at the Natural History Museum, which will be a lot of fun. And then we have a golf outing, our fifth annual golf outing, September 9th at Alpine Country Club. So I'm just excited that, like I said, our organizations continue to thrive in retirement, and people are, coming out to help us out.
Is that what you've spent most of your time on a post baseball career? Is that where you've been really like focusing on? I know your wife is heavily involved in this as
Yeah.
well.
I mean, yeah, amongst other things, I still work as a special assistant for the Yankees, so I'm around the park, showing up to do, corporate events and things like that. And I have a job with MLB. I'm a assistant to the commissioner at MLB, so that kind of keeps me busy too, along with this stuff and, having four kids and, playing all sports all over the place. It's been good. Retirement's great, and but yeah, I mean, stuff like this is definitely what keeps me busy these days, and playing a lot of golf.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have you? I mean, being around the ballpark, how much do you miss it? Do you miss hitting the rubber every fifth day?
I
Uh,
don't,
no, really,
not at all.
really. Okay.
I mean, I wish I could tell you sit here and be like, oh, I wish I missed this, I missed that. I don't miss it at all, man. I'm having a great time in retirement. So somebody asked me yesterday. I was in Cincinnati, seeing the Reds and the Blue Jays, and I think it was Emilio Pagan. He was like, "Oh, so how's retirement?" I was like, "Man, I should have retired 15 years ago." But no, I mean, I enjoy just my time off, being a travel in the summer, be on your own schedule. I'm not getting home at 1 in the morning. I'm not missing my kids' football games and dance competitions and all those things. So, I played the game, as long as I can, as hard as I could for 25 years, of my life. And, that chapter's done, and I don't miss it. I love being around the park. I love baseball, but I don't miss myself in that element.
Interesting. Well, being around the team so much, have you have you offered some advice to any? And the Yankees have, kind of, a hidden secret. The Yankees have a little bit of a pitching factory going on right now with Cam Shitler, Will Warren. They even had Michael King for a little while. They've really developed pitching. Is there any like advice that you've given them? Especially like maybe during spring training, to maybe help them get to this point. I mean, what do you even credit it to,
Yeah, I mean, I think, they have a great kind of analytic department with, being able to show you, right away, like how to throw this pitch, what you need, where your hand position needs to be. Having a chance to go down to spring training and see, Max Fried come over from Atlanta, be a veteran and be like, oh, wow, I didn't know I could learn even more on top of what I knew. So I think what you see him doing in that first half and like what he did last night, I think it's all a product of what the Yankees are able to do and what they're able to teach. I think about myself and I think about Andy and how Mo and Billy Connors helped me in trying to learn the cutter. If I had the technology that these guys have now, Preston Wilson and all these guys that they have down there, I would have learned the cutter in 3 weeks. It took
know?
me like a year and a half to learn how to throw that pitch. And now, I have a chance to. I got a 14-year-old that's going to Bergen Catholic. He's a pitcher, and I'm teaching him how to throw the cutter. and it's taken me a week and a half. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
with some of the stuff that these guys are able to teach me. So it's great to see these guys being able to add on top of what these players already able to do. Will Warren, Cam Shitler. You see these guys coming through this organization and getting better because of our analytic department.
Yeah, absolutely. And hearing you say Bergen Catholic is tough for me. I'm a Don Bosco boy. Uh,
Yeah, now you said that.
but
It's a big
but
rivalry.
no, that's cool. So you have a son that plays baseball. Is he's pitching right now? Does he play any field positions?
My oldest is a first baseman. He plays first
Okay.
base at University of Houston, DH first base, and then my youngest guy pitches and plays third base. So yeah, he plays. I mean, and he plays football too. But he he's learning how to throw and pitch and at a faster rate than I could even think about because of some of the tools that I can get from the Yankees.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Yankees have had, an up and down season a little bit here. It's been, high highs and low lows throughout the year. What do you think the ceiling is for this team as we sit here right now on September 3rd with the playoffs looming?
I mean, I don't think we know, right? Like you said, there have been so many peaks and valleys throughout the season. I think if they can just play consistently, for a month, and just see how it goes, catching the baseball, pitching well, getting hits when you need them. I think, not just relying on the home run, being able to manufacture runs. I think that's the biggest thing. You get into the playoffs and you don't have to worry about or rely on a 3-run homer. You can put together 2 or 3 or 4 hits in a row. And I think this lineup is kind of showing that it can do it with Belly in there, and you get Judge healthy, and Big G in the playoffs is a monster, bro. So I think Jazz being able to contribute the way he is. If Jazz gets hot, he can carry. I mean, he can carry you. He can turn into an MVP type candidate if he keeps playing the way he is right now. So we don't know what the ceiling is with this team. And, I just think, with the American League being the way it is, obviously Detroit's played well all year. Toronto's in first place. They have a lot of talent. But I think it's wide open in the American League.
Certainly. And when you were with the Yankees, one thing that kind of stuck out at one point was, Eduardo Nunez really struggled in the field at one point when you were with the Yankees. We've seen this a little bit also in you being with the team with Anthony Volpe. What do you think he needs to do to like improve and maybe just get over the hump here and get rid of the yips, as they say?
It's crazy. I think it's like people need to relax. I just watched Miguel Andujar got ran out of here because we said he couldn't catch ground balls. I mean, that guy's still playing in the big leagues today. I think, it's hard to develop young talent here. Just because of the demand, right? Like we're trying to win the World Series every year. You don't have time for guys to go through growing pains. I mean, I feel like Gary Sanchez could still be catching for us if we had patience, if we were able to if as a fan base, as a city, let these kids go through whatever they're gonna go through. The game's hard to play, man. It's very difficult, and we know, what's at stake and what we're trying to do every year. When you put on those pinstripes, and it's just hard to let kids develop. So, I think about the struggles that Nooney went through were like for 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and then he all of a sudden he can't play the field, and then he goes off to Boston and has a great career. So
Hmm.
it's like, it's got to be a little give and take with either the city, the fan base, and sometimes the organization, and giving these kids a break and letting them go through their lumps because you're going to have ups and downs. And if you look at all these guys that I'm talking about, they're all under 25,
Hmm.
every single one of them. So it's just hard to break in and be an everyday player with the Yankees, no matter who you are.
What would you say about the pressure that New York brings? I mean, it can be a lot for some athletes, no doubt, and we've seen it, countless times. So, what would you say about the pressure that New York brings and maybe like the media pressure?
Yeah, no, it's just hard. It's hard to come up in this. I mean, you watch so many guys. I mean, you watch so many veterans come here and struggle. So I mean, can you imagine a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old that comes here and all the pressure's on their shoulders? Or, I think Volpe gets a lot of, I think he gets a tough break because people want to compare him to Derek all the time and like, hey, he needs to replace Derek. Well, what about Didi? Didi replaced Derek beautifully.
Hmm.
Hit back-to-back 20 home run seasons, played a great shortstop, Nobody ever talked about Derek being gone when Didi was playing shortstop. So I don't understand why Volpe gets that comparison to Derek Jeter when it's just weird to me how some of this stuff plays out through the fan base, through, like I said, through the media, through whatever. It's just crazy how some of these narratives go, and then it's a wrap, right? Like once it gets onto the radio and all these different things, then it's something that we can't control, and it just feels bad to watch these kids go through that. And if you're not equipped to handle it, it'll crush you, and it has so many times. We watched it, and I just hope it doesn't with Anthony Volpe because I love him, and I think he can play a great shortstop, and I think this will pass just like everything else does. I just hope they don't put him somewhere, or he doesn't be somewhere else when he turns into the player that we're all expecting to turn into.
100%. And when you first got to the Yankees, Joe Girardi was the manager. Then you caught the back end of Aaron Boone as the manager. What did you see any noticeable differences between the two? And is there any stories you could tell maybe between when Aaron Boone first came in as a manager?
No, I mean, Joe was my favorite manager I ever played for. I mean, the way he treated us with our families, the way he managed, the personalities, the superstars in that room was off the charts. And having the chance to play for Booney was awesome because he was my teammate. I've been knowing Booney. We played together, for 2 or 3 years in Cleveland, and we had a great relationship, and it was fun, having a chance to play for him and even see him turn into what he's turned into, the manager he's turned into. We sat on the bench in those years in Cleveland. You can see, how his mind worked, and he would be a great manager, and his family lineage and all that stuff, makes for him, being a great baseball guy. So I'm excited for what's to come for him.
Absolutely. Would you say that Boone is more laid back than Joe Girardi was? Because from the outside looking in, it looks like Joe Girardi had a very intense personality, where Boone, at least to the media, doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think that's just the way that you see him in interviews. I mean, Joe walked in the room. I don't think it was any more intense or less intense than when Booney walks in the room. And like I said, when all our kids were young and we had all these different guys in the room, Joe let us bring our families in. It was all about our families, and I think that's what helped us be so close and win a lot of ball games is the way he treated us.
Yeah, and switching gears a little bit to just earlier in your career, when you were over in Milwaukee, you had that crazy run to when you got traded out of Cleveland. Maybe walk me through just like getting traded at the deadline, coming in. Like we've even seen like trade deadline acquisition struggle, like Ryan Helsley for the Mets right now. Walk me through like how you just went into Milwaukee and just was like didn't skip a beat, got better arguably.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting traded was, it was tough. It was tough for me. I had been in that organization for, 10 plus years. I got there at 17. I was 28 at the time. But when I walked in that clubhouse in Milwaukee, I had so many different guys that I'm still close with to this day. Mike Cameron, Prince Fielder, Ricky Weeks, Billy Hall, all these different guys. Dave Risky was one of my best friends. He was in the bullpen at that time. When I walked in, it was like I had been there for 15 years. It was like, this is this is my home. And I didn't want the season to end, and Sheeter got hurt. He hurt his shoulder. And I felt like, I was healthy enough, and I was like, I don't want the season to end. These last 2 weeks, I'll go on 3 days rest. And, that's kind of how that went. But it was just being comfortable. I love that city. The organization was great. And, it made it easy to go out and just want to win for them.
Yeah, absolutely. CC, you have your charity event coming up this weekend, or is it next weekend?
This weekend,
It's this weekend.
Monday, Tuesday.
Why don't you tell everybody where they could go if they want to attend or be a part of the foundation?
Yeah, you can go to pitch.org, pitch with two C's. Sign up. You can come to the gala. There's still spots, to come out for the cocktail party for the golf event on Tuesday. Even come out Sunday. Sunday we're at Yankee Stadium. We got the Plaque Day. It's Blue Jays game, so it should be a big series. Super excited for the weekend, and I'm super excited that this is like the finale. Like it's been a great summer. It's been a great year. I've it's been a blessing. I've had a great time celebrating. But I am so ready for like it to be kind of
Football
done.
season.
And this is like the finale of it, and we get to the postseason, we get the football season, and start enjoying the fall and the winter. So I'm excited for this week.
Maybe I'll see you at a Bosco Bergen game this fall. But
Absolutely,
I
absolutely, I'll be there.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, CC. Yeah, thank you very much.
No problem, bro.